Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Four Lads. Bit of a update, I suppose, an update special. Just myself coming on to join you. The ongoing situation with Danny Rowe and Derek McInnes is obviously dominating. So good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had a good Tuesday. Better than mine, certainly. Really busy day. Not one of my best, but I hope everyone had a good day. I was hoping for announcements. I was hoping that this was going to be a wee bit further on, but it's not. So we're going to tell you exactly why that is. I'll go and get as many comments up, and I'll try and pay attention to as many of the comments and things like that as well. But with me doing it on my own, can be a wee bit tricky. So everybody will be asking, when can we expect the news? And I'll tell you what, as far as I'm concerned, as far as I'm led to believe, Derek McInnes will be the new Rangers manager. Danny Rowe will be going to RB Salzburg. The actual delay is because they're still to settle and yet to recommence talks for a deal for Lenz and Kaltenbach, the Rangers assistant managers, to go with Danny. As far as we know, Sal Beeble, the goalkeeping coach, is not going with them. He'll be staying at Rangers. And Scott Fry, our set piece coach, wouldn't be going with them either. However, that one's not guaranteed. There is a speculation surrounding him whether or not he will stay or go. As for Rangers, it looks likely that Derek McInnes will bring Alan Archibald and Paul Sheeran with him. And that seems to be the mood music. This isn't confirmed with regards to backroom staff. We do know that the reason of the delay, 100% the reason of the delay, is RB have yet to put in a deal in place for Lenz and Kaltenbach. That is the reason, ladies and gentlemen. There hasn't been any announcement. There was an announcement last night on Sky Sports that said that Danny Rowe had gone, and basically the deal was done. A bit premature, perhaps, on that part. Or it depends on how you look at it, because the manager deal for both Rule and McInnes are done. They are in place, as you would expect. So it's really just the backroom staff that is holding this up, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, that is basically why we are where we are. I would have hoped that we would have had an announcement, but we've not yet. So it probably most likely looking now towards the end of the week, and maybe with the team returning, press conference will perhaps take place on the start of next week, I would imagine. And this is just me guessing, surmising how Rangers work and things like that. Unlikely they'll do it the weekend. So I would say with the team due back, next Monday on the 22nd, most likely Derek McInnes would be in place to take training and things like that, and then be introduced to the press after. So that is where we are at the moment. As I said, there's no confirmation on Derek McInnes' backroom staff. It's only what people believe is going to happen with Archibald and Sheeran. And with regards to why no announcement, just to repeat myself again, is no deal yet for Rangers assistants currently, Lenz and Kaltenbach, and they will be going with Danny Rowe to RB Salzburg. So that is why there's been no announcement, ladies and gentlemen. We'll just need to wait and see how that goes. As I said, there's no confirmation. It is expected Derek McInnes will bring Sheeran and Archibald, but there's no confirmation on that. That might change. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are. We spoke about it last night quite a lot. Surprised at the reaction to the pod. I think a lot of people were saying that it was a very negative pod, and I'd like to talk about that just for a second or two, ladies and gentlemen. Kenny and I are in a really difficult position, because if we come out and cheerlead and champion this, it gets cut up, and then the first bad result, these things appear on the internet, and we are criticised for being too much of cheerleaders. We're in Rangers' back pocket, and we're all of a sudden, if we say bad things, then people accuse us of only saying what the club want us to say and things like that. So we try and put context to everything. And yeah, I felt that's what we did last night. Did we get it right? Did we get it completely balanced? Was it a wee bit too negative? Were we a wee bit too grounded? Possibly, but I'll go through what I think as well. I'll take a few people are sort of asking things as well, which we can go through. But Derek McInnes, I'm really glad that Derek McInnes is here for Rangers, because I feel like he's the right person at the right time. My choices were Steven Gerrard or Derek McInnes. That was on social media last week before Derek McInnes stuff even came out. Steven Gerrard has that obvious feel-good factor for me. He brought that dynamic, so I was excited about that, and I thought that was the way that Rangers would go. And I'll be honest with you, I've expected now for quite a while that Steven Gerrard would be back at Rangers. So this has taken me a wee bit by surprise. With regards to Derek McInnes, I think that Derek McInnes knows what it's all about. A diehard Rangers fan knows what it's all about, which is really important. Knows the Scottish League, which is really, really important. He also knows Rangers Football Club. More importantly, I think for me, beyond all that, and we don't want to go for the, we'll get him in because he's super staunch, get that all out the way first and foremost. Derek McInnes knows Rangers Football Club as a team at this moment in time. He's going to look at that Rangers team and say, well, I know exactly how I beat them. I know exactly where their weakness is, and I know exactly where we have to strengthen. So with Derek McInnes coming in, I feel that all that was very positive. Yes. Am I concerned about some things? Absolutely am. No point going back over them, did last night. Would I be concerned if Steven Gerrard came in? Yes, because there's some context, there's some bad things there potentially with Steven Gerrard as well. So, we could all look at it and say, if Kevin Muscat comes in, people would say, oh, he's not experienced in Europe. He flopped in Belgium. If Rob Edwards come in, everybody would be, talking about him not being good enough and stuff like that. So there's pros and cons for everyone. I think with Derek McInnes is the right person at the right time for him. I feel as a coach, if he didn't go to Rangers now, I feel that there wouldn't be a better time for him than there is at this moment in time. He'd done really well with Hearts last season. Of course, you can look at it and say he should have got it over the line and Hearts should have got it over the line, but it was an unprecedented situation for Hearts. It's not like Hearts are title challengers every year. So there's context to absolutely everything. I'll say I do feel like he should have, maybe Hearts should have won that league last year, but Derek McInnes has got all the capabilities of being a success for Rangers. There's the obvious comparison to when Alex McLeish came in. Alex McLeish came into a team that had, Ronald de Boer, Barry Ferguson, Lorenzo Lambrusco, Arthur Newman and things like that. So it's a far different situation than what Derek McInnes is coming into. But Derek McInnes does have players that we can build around. Two Romans, Manny Fernandez. People are going to shout at me. Nico Raskin. Could you get more out of Chukwani? Can we get more out of Gassama? Can we get Chermiti firing? Shanklin's going to be up front. So let's see how that works out for Derek McInnes. He will be the new Rangers manager. I expect him to be manager. I don't expect him to be the head coach. And we'll just need to basically wait and see when that formally gets announced. As I said, to repeat myself, if you're just joining, the reason why this deal hasn't been announced and completed yet, both manager deals are in place, agreed. Rangers backroom staff, assistant managers Lenz and Kaltenbach, the pair of them have not been given permission yet to speak to RB Salzburg because RB Salzburg haven't agreed a deal for the backroom staff. That is why we are where we are. As soon as that happens, then I should imagine it's all go. Derek McInnes' backroom staff yet to be announced. There is an expectation that he'll bring with him Archibald and Sheeran, but that's not confirmed. We need to wait and see on that. A lot of people immediately going, we don't want these people. So we'll just need to wait and see on that. Huge thanks to Tino, who's gifted 10 Four Lads memberships to everybody that's watching this evening. So if you've grabbed one, good on you. Okay, so that's where you are with the head coach news today. What else has been happening? Rangers linked again with a move for Andrew Skov-Olsen. Daily Record claiming that Wolfsburg are prepared to more than slash their 8 million transfer fee. That got me thinking. I'm a bit. Anybody that's played Football Manager, right, will know that Skov-Olsen is an absolute legend. And this has worked my mind too much, because when he came in last year, I think that I maybe expected too much. What we got was somebody that just wasn't at it at all. Somebody that needs a pre-season, somebody that doesn't look fit, somebody that didn't look interested. I would not be spending £3.5–4 million on Skov-Olsen. Would I take him on loan with a proper pre-season? That's an interesting question. Why are the Wolfsburg selling him cheaply though? Has he completely chucked it? So we just don't know. It's an interesting thing to look at. I don't think Rangers will be interested, I must admit. Maybe just headlines. But I was surprised at how poorly Skov-Olsen did. Czerny would be first for me in an absolute heartbeat. I think he would be a cracking signing. Other news today as well, Atalanta shown an interest in Nico Raskin. Nico Raskin had a cameo last night for Belgium, 20 minutes left, he came on and got quite good reviews. A lot of people saying that he was a huge influence on Belgium getting back into that game. So I think Egypt were better than most people kind of expected. I think that's fair to say. But Nico doing well at this World Cup will do Rangers no harm. Absolutely. And I think that's an interesting proposition for Rangers, because we want Nico Raskin to do as well as we can, so that if we do sell him, then we can get as much money as possible for him. I think that's all completely fair. So that's really where we are, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to come on and give a small update. Going to go through a few questions and a few opinions as well. And listen, Kelso says, McInnes has won one trophy in 17 years Scottish football, couldn't win the league with Aberdeen when Rangers, Hearts, Hibs were all out of it. Against Celtic, only 9 wins from 61 games. This is the type of thing I was talking about last night. There's context to everything. Absolutely there is. But there's also okay to have concerns. I think that's all right. I think sometimes the balance between cheerleading and having reservations about somebody can get lost a wee bit, and especially on a podcast when you're talking. I want to be fair to absolutely everyone. There's lots of people saying that it's a really good appointment. Willie's asking, what do you think it will mean for Stevie Smith? Nothing. I think Stevie Smith will stay as part of the backroom staff alongside Sal Bibo and Scott Fry, maybe, if he stays. So we just need to wait and see on that. A lot of people saying take Czerny over Skov-Olsen. Absolutely would be. I would be taking that. This is an interesting one. We talked about this last night. How did the McInnes deal go through so smoothly? I thought Bloom would have made it really difficult to get him. We spoke about this a bit last night. And there is a chain of thought from Hearts fans and things that the reason why Bloom he wants a coach in that's going to play his way, who's going to play and sign all the players that he gets from his scouting model and things like that. The ironic thing is Derek McInnes' best players for Hearts last year, the likes of Stuart Finlay and things like that, are players that he knew and he was able to get himself. So there's a suggestion that because he didn't really follow the Jamestown model, that he didn't really fit into Bloom's way of thinking. That's speculation. I've read that a lot on Hearts sites. What I do think is, and what I think reasonably you could look at from a Rangers point of view, which kind of excites me as well, is that Derek McInnes was able to get Hearts firing straight away last year. I think they won their first 8 or 9 games. I'm sorry if that's not completely correct. It seemed like they did. I would expect we've had slow start. The slow start last year killed us. Russell Martin, and that 1 win in 8 games, 6 draws and 1 defeat. That completely killed us. We can't afford to have another slow start. So for Derek McInnes, I think he'll be able to get us quite compact. He'll be able to get us organised. He'll be able to get us ready to go for the season ahead quite quickly. That's why I talked about last night. I wouldn't be surprised if Derek McInnes signs some, I don't want to say, some experienced league players that we might think, oh, hold on a minute. And I'm not suggesting any names, but he's taken the likes of Stuart Finlay everywhere he's went, more or less, from Kilmarnock to Hearts. I think he re-signed him for Killie as well. And I'm not suggesting we go and get Stuart Finlay. That's not the point. I'm just saying that Derek, I think, likes these type of players. Now, every solid Rangers winning side has had a backbone of Scots in it somewhere. When you look back to Walter Smith had Whitakers, Thompsons, Boyds, Millers, even the Broadfoots. Walter Smith, in his first spell, had your Clelands, Derek McInnes, the very man himself. So I think that every Ranger squad that's been successful needs a backbone to it that we can rely on it. So it's going to be interesting to see who he goes. There's a lot. Look, I think there's a lot to do for Rangers, and it doesn't matter who the manager is or is ever going to be. In the ways of, it wouldn't matter if Danny Rule was still here. That's what I'm trying to say. We're still going to need, in my opinion, 10 players, 8, 9, 10 players. I think that's fair, somewhere in that region. What would it be much different for Derek McInnes? That's going to be an interesting one. I don't think it will. I don't think it will massively change because Derek McInnes, first of all, he's going to be delighted Shanklin's there. Has Shanklin got a really much stronger case now for Rangers captain? I think so. I think he has. And I think that that's interesting for us. I think that as well, if you let Derek McInnes maybe get some of the more unfashionable guys, and I don't say that this sounds so snobby and entitled, and it's not meaning to be. What we want is guys that are going to run through a brick wall, that are going to run all day long for Rangers, are going to fight. I think he only got beat by more than 1 goal once in his time for Hearts, which I think ironically may even have been against us. So that, from our point of view, makes me think that probably he will look at some hard-working Scottish domestic type players. And that to me, as well as complementing them by some European flair, perhaps, is where I think Rangers will end up being under Derek McInnes. So it's an interesting one. Would you swap Nico Raskin potentially going to Atalanta? They pay big money for one player every summer. Could that be Nico Raskin? That would be interesting. Would you swap Nico Raskin for Lewis Ferguson, perhaps? If you could, for example, get the right money for Nico to get the right money to pay for Lewis Ferguson, having worked with Derek McInnes. I think that's interesting. I said last night that Miofsky worked with Derek McInnes. I'm sorry, folks, I was wrong. They missed each other by a year. So I beg your pardon with that. It was suggested on the chat and it suddenly dawned on me, maybe that's right. And I said it, but that's wrong. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. With regards to the squad, I think there is players that could come and go. I think you would get money for Bayrami. I think you would get money for Ant-Man. I think you would get money for Nico, Fernandez, Chermiti. You don't necessarily want to sell those ones. But there's squad players there. In my opinion, Diamandi could be getting a move this summer if the right money comes in for him. So it's interesting. I think we've got a lot of things we could do in the squad. There's not too many now. When you looked at last year, when you looked at likes of Ben Davies, Rabbi Matondo, Kieran Dowell, there was a lot of players there getting big money. They've all left this summer properly for once. Matondo, we know, went 3 months ago. Ben Davies was out on loan, has left. He signed for Bolton. Kieran Dowell went as well and went to Hull. But these guys are all off the wage bill, which is fantastic for me as well. I also think as well with regards to signings, and I said it last night, I'll repeat myself slightly, but Derek McInnes will have looked at like some Motherwell, right? And he's maybe looked at just what Manuise, if that's how you pronounce it, I hope, let me get this. And he's maybe thought to himself, I would love them at Hearts, maybe not quite got the budget for them. But now he's in a position where maybe he does have the budget for them for Rangers. Could he go and get what? Could he go and get Just? Could he go and get Manuise? I think there's a potential there. So we'll just need to wait and see with regards to what Derek McInnes does in the market and things like that. Folks, before we go, I'd like to thank you all for joining me this evening. This was just a small insight, just a small update. I expect Derek McInnes will be Rangers manager in the next couple of days. I expect Danny Rule will be announced as RB Salzburg head coach in the next couple of days. The only thing at the moment that's holding them up is the deals for Rangers assistants, Lenz and Kaltenbach, are not done yet. Sasha Lenz. So once that gets resolved in the next, hopefully, couple of days, the teams will get together and thrash that out. I don't think there's any danger that sort of thing would stop Rangers from, or RB Salzburg from making this move. So that's where we are, folks. When do I think it will be announced? I honestly don't know. I said you could be looking at an announcement towards the end of the week, maybe we're Wednesday tomorrow already. So you're looking at maybe Thursday. Players are back Thursday, Friday. The players are back Monday. And it would make sense to me for Derek McInnes to be in position to take training and then maybe do a press conference and say hello to the supporters in the afternoon. That's only me just guessing. But I really appreciate everybody joining. Hopefully this will be resolved within the next couple of days. Kenny and I will be back tomorrow evening to come live and tell you all the latest news. If you haven't, then please do check out, we're doing a live show at Scott Arfield's bar on the 24th of July. It's called Bar 442. It is based on Paisley Road West. I believe it was the old Park Bar. I'm delighted to say we've actually just heading really quickly towards a sellout. It's been fantastic. The reaction from everybody. We have sold 40 standing tickets and we've also sold 18 seats. So it's only an 80-seater or an 80 capacity. There's one table left for 6 people and you've got 20 or so tickets left for standing. So yeah, 15 or so tickets left for standing. Maths taking a real hit tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's £10 if you want to stand. It's 15 if you want to sit in a booth, but you must be a table of 6. So yeah, I'd like to say Kevin Thompson will be joining myself, Scott, Kenny, and Amrit. Amrit's going to host for us. He has a barrel of laughs. We did a night at Grangemouth, which Amrit arranged, and he was the host, and he was very, very amusing. So I'm delighted to let him have the night. He's going to host and takes the pressure off me. I can just bore you all with my answers. But by that time, folks, it'll be pre-season gone. We'll know who we have in Europe. We'll know who Derek has brought in. We'll be preparing for the first game of the season the following week. There's supposed to be a friendly on the Sunday on the 26th against, we now think it's West Ham, but that's yet to be announced because obviously new manager Derek McInnes will want to have his say and the club maybe will not want to confirm him because of that. It's interesting that they've held back. It could have been because of these things that were going on in the background. Nobody will tell me that suddenly RB Salzburg just sprung and took Danny Rule and we've just magically within a few days, within a few days then took Derek McInnes. I don't believe that that's happened. So it's going to be an interesting one, I believe, to see what we do in the friendlies. We were supposed to be going to Austria. We're supposed to be playing Prague as well out there. So there's a lot to be decided. I'd like to think that Derek will come in and we'll get decisions and we'll get things done quite quickly. Folks asking as well about the home top today that's been in, and apparently in some of the Sports Direct stores. I can't tell you if or when that is. There is no release date as far as I'm aware yet for the home top. There was decision made to go away first, so I don't know if that's the one. I've seen that prototype go out before. I'm not sure about the sponsor on today's shirt, so we'll just need to wait and see. I can't give you an answer, ladies and gentlemen, to that. So yeah, thank you everybody that's joined for this small update. Really appreciate everybody in the comments, everybody that follows and subscribes on YouTube. If you haven't, please do that. It is free. That would be a great help to the podcast as we try and grow. If you want to become a member, you can. Which side is it? It's over there. Can point up there to the QR code if you want to join. It's for as little as 99p. It is something else that's going out tonight as well. I want to tell you that one of the. Sorry, this has just caught my eye. Gifted 54 lads had a dream Rangers Premiership podcast memberships. Chris Gibson. Chris, thank you very, very much for that, for your generosity. I hope that people manage to grab that. What do you get for being a member? You get some extra shows. You get first look at our Rangers legend stories. I think at this moment in time, the legend currently is Derek Parlane, telling his Ranger story. It's a fantastic story with Davy Herd. Davy Herd meets with Mark Walters in the next couple of weeks. He's next up for us, and we keep getting, and we'll try our best to get ex-players and ex-legends in to tell their story for an hour or so, and we hope you enjoy those kind of shows. What I did have, folks, and what I want to tell you about is there is a show going up, and it's from a gentleman called Paul Ironmonger. Paul got in contact with me and said that he's got a vested interest in the Rangers women's team, goes to watch them, and would I be interested in having a regular pod on Four Lads? So I said to him, look, I wasn't sure how that mood music, what it would be presented. I wasn't sure if I really wanted to commit to another show, because I do quite a lot. Nobody else on the podcast has an interest in the women's game. But Paul and I recorded last night. It is what I would call a pilot episode. It was Paul's very first time on Four Lads. Never even had an audition. His audition was, you want to go do a podcast, go and record it. So he has done that last night with myself. I'm going to put that out with tonight, and people can catch up on it. It's basically a review of the Rangers women's team, where they are. It's 40 minutes long. They've lost, I think we counted something, they're down to 14 players now. So if you want to try and have a listen to that, if it's something that you like in the background, but not too much, then it's something we might continue to do with Paul every now and then. Check in. Please remember that Paul, it's his very first ever podcast, and he came to me with an idea. And I want people on this show who come to me with ideas. If you're a member of the podcast and you have an idea for a Rangers show, send me it to it. Send me the information. fourladshadadream@gmail.com, and we'll record it and we'll put it out, and we'll see if people enjoy it. I want people in this community to be involved in the podcast. Amrit, Rob, Mark are all here because they were members of the podcast and contacted me saying they would like to be a pod and like to be on. If you've got a show that you think you can do, or you've got a show that you want to do, or that you'd be interested in, please get involved, because we want to make everybody part of this. So thank you everybody. Huge thanks to Chris Gibson for that generous gifting 50 memberships like that. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Chris. The news at the top of the show, we'll just repeat that just one more time for everybody in case you're joining me and have listened to me waffle on and wonder where we are with it. Derek McInnes and Danny Rule will become the new manager of Rangers. Danny Rule going to RB Salzburg. The only hold up at the moment is there's no deal agreed for Rangers assistants Sasha Lenz and Kaltenbach, both assistants of Rangers, yet to go to Salzburg. That's the delay. So yes, folks, that's where we are. There's no indication of Scott Fry going at this moment. I think that's one. They're saying no, but maybe it could change. Sal Biebel will stay as goalkeeping coach, we expect. So that's an interesting kind of dynamic. We don't know Derek McInnes' backroom staff yet, but yeah, is expected to bring Alan Archibald and Paul Sheeran with him. That is not confirmed. We're waiting to find out about that as well. So that's the situation, folks. The assistants, backroom staff of Rangers going to Salzburg rather, seem to be the hold up. And hopefully within the coming days, we'll get all the news and all the updates of that. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. France v Senegal should be a cracker tonight. Now, interesting comment here from one of our members. I don't even know how to pronounce that. We'll just call him Neil because that's at the end. I think France will destroy Senegal tonight 5-1. I think Senegal were one of the tips of John Walker in the World Cup, who's saying that they're one of the star African teams and may be a surprise to everyone. So I think this will be a cracker tonight. 5-1 to France. As optimistic France are, the big favourites, I think, with their team. But look at Spain last night against Cape Verde. I think the gap, even Egypt and Belgium, I think the gap between the really big teams and the teams that you think might do well or whatever isn't going to be as big as what people think. And I think you've already seen that. And we'll see that when Scotland beat Morocco and Brazil. Or not. We'll see. Folks, thank you very much. Have a smashing evening. Enjoy the football tonight when it comes on. Kenny and I will be back live tomorrow evening. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in and joining us. It's been a fantastic podcast just to talk to you. I hope you don't mind my ramblings. Take care, everyone, and bye.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.